everyone, and welcome back to another World of Tanks console video. My name is Zach, and today we'll be covering the brand new Tier 6 Swedish medium tank, the STRV M42 or M/42-57 Alt A.2, and man, that thing is a mouthful to say, so I will just be calling it the M42 from now on. Firstly, let's get started with, of course, the normal tank sheet. Again, there is nothing in the Swedish tank that I can compare it to, or the Swedish tech tree, and rather than comparing the Swedish tanks to any of the other nations, I would rather compare them to the Swedish tanks or their Swedish counterparts, because these are the premium versions. I don't do this very often. I normally try to compare it to at least one other tank from a different nation, but I felt that I'd rather keep the unique characteristics of this tank in here, and I don't know why the bonuses sheet is filled out, because I know I canceled it. Either way, don't pay attention to the bonus sheet. Let's go down the statistics of the M42. And I should probably finish typing the name. Done. Anyway, this brand new Tier 6 medium tank has a firepower stat of 26, and that is because it has a unique 4-round auto loader. That's right. This is the only Tier 6 tank, medium tank, that has a 4-round auto loader in the game. The Czechoslovakian Tier 6 medium has a 3-round auto loader. That is probably my favorite Tier 6 auto loader between the two. I didn't want to compare them in this one, of course, but let's focus on the Swedish tank. No sidetracking. So it uses a 75mm caliber gun with a base reload of 16 on this 4-round autoloader. These are base stats again in the gameplay. Mostly focuses on base tanks rather than tanks with perks such as Sixth Sense, Brothers in Arms, Recon, Situational Awareness, or anything that severely affects the tank from the normal stats. So anything on the effective side is out the window because base tank. Rate of fire is 10 rounds a minute. Again, something I forgot to mention or including here is because it is a 4-round autoloader, keep that in mind when you see the rate of fire being so low for the tank. So the penetration on the standard AP rounds is 148, with APCR as its secondary being 190, and HE being 38. On autoloaders, I don't recommend taking a bunch of HE rounds, especially with a base reload of 16, whether you improve that with perk bonuses or vents. You normally can finish off most tanks with an autoloader, and if you were able to take it out in its entirety in the clip, then the HE kind of defeats its purposes, but some people still like taking a few rounds of HE in their autoloaders. If that is you, no offense. Damage is 150 on the AP and APCR, and it bumps up to 185 if you manage to penetrate anything with that 38mm of penetration on the HE rounds. Shell cost will roughly run you about 145 on the AP rounds, 2,800 on the APCRs, and 90 silver on the HGs. So the AP round has 925 meters a second shell velocity, 1,160 on the APCR, and on the HE actually has 840, which is relatively good for HE rounds. I know on the S1 it is actually 640, which is severely lower than the APCRs, but that is the price you pay for those huge caliber guns. Ammo capacity is 60, so again, you're able to take a variety of shots. I mostly recommend just using AP and APCR, but then again, I'm a premium player, so that might not be where you want to go. It is recommended that you take at least 1 to 2 clips, which is 8 rounds of APCR, only if you end up in the higher tier match. Something that I forgot to mention in the S1 video, it does not get preferential matchmaking, and neither does the STRV M42-57 Alt A.2 either. It gets standard tier 6 matchmaking, so keep that in mind. APCR rounds are a healthy choice to take, and the HE rounds probably not as much. again, DPM, I keep forgetting to fill these in, but I think it equates to around 22 or 2400 damage, average damage, or DPM. So aim time on this little tier 6 medium tank is 2.3, which is probably one of the more disappointing factors of it. Very noticeable right off the bat, and you will probably catch on to it as soon as we start that video. Dispersion of 0.35, so this tank will literally feel kind of like a miniature. For those of you that use the French tanks, the Swedish heavies, or the Swedish medium and heavy line with the autoloader, they have those huge intervals between shots, and I forgot to include that again. Darn. But the dispersion on them is relatively high for its gun. Elevation, 12 degrees of gun elevation and 6 degrees of gun depression. So this is literally, when you think about it, because the Swedish take kind of notes from the French tanks, they will look rather similar, and you will notice from the design of the tank, it kind of reminds you of the AMX 1375 or the 12T. Pick your poison. It roughly runs around that with the turret. And the hull, I'm not exactly sure what the hull reminds me of. I know it reminds me of a tank, but I can't think of it right now. But enough sidetracking. Hull traverse speed is 38 degrees and turret traverse speed is 35, so keep that in mind when you have those little light tanks circling you. Mobility stat is 19, very low, unfortunately. Engine power is at 340 with a 18.28 horsepower to ton. Very good. At first it doesn't notice because of the low engine power. You'll be like, oh man, this tank's, it seems slow right off the bat, but if you scroll down a little bit to the top forward speed is actually 45 kilometers, and top reverse speed being 20. Before I skip over any more, fire percent chance is 20%, so this might not be a tank that you want to swap out for the premium consumable, but again, these are based on what your own opinions. If you want to put that food consumable, who am I to tell you no? The terrain resistance on the hard is 0.8, 0.9 on medium, and 2.0 flat on soft. So keep in mind that this tank is kind of like I keep comparing it to like a miniature 50B, just because of the lightly armoredness of it. But you'll notice that when we go down to the survivability stat, which is a low, again, 19. Oh man, evens out with the mobility stat. And that is because it gets 700 hit points as its health pool or hit points. I don't know why I keep stumbling over this. Armor thickness is 9mm to 55. Keep this in mind. It is very lightly armored even for a tier 6. It is a medium tank. It's not a heavy brawler, but that autoloader will make you feel like it. With front hull armor being 55, side 30, and 20 on the rear. These are only the hull. Very easily penetrated. You're a tier 6 medium. Most other tanks should be able to penetrate you unless they're lower and hit you with, I'm assuming, the autoloaders on tier 4s. No, because the Lux will kill you. Anyway, turret armor on the front is 40, 20 on the side, and 20 on the rear. Again, this is a very lightly armored tank. Keep that in mind. This medium will not brawl, but it can if you put it in the right situation and know how to use your tank. Concealment stat is 46, and that is because when stationary it gets 0.25, and when on the move is 0.19. This tank is not easily, due to the height, it's not easily able to get concealed. Contrary to the tier 8 Swedish tank, the S1, it is actually very tall. Spotting stat is 62, and this is actually hilarious because it evens out with the S1 at 350 on this tier 6 medium, which is still pretty decent for a tier 6 medium tank, actually. However, the radio range I feel is a little bit lacking. 710, not all that bad, but not all that good. So the average tank of this, or the standard cost of the M42 is 3,700 golds, or if you decide to buy it from the bundle, it was a little bit more because Wargaming always includes a garage slot, some free premium rounds, and premium days, but standard cost, guys. Just a tank by itself without a garage slot. Premium bonus in silver is 20%. No surprise there. This is 30% XP. It is meant to grind out those crews on your Swedish tanks. So what I recommend is thoroughly using one crew in the beginning to maximize your perk of trying to at least master one Swedish commander before using this tank to grind XP on. Considering that it gets 30% to the, I believe, 10% on the S1, this is the more welcome tank for crew grinding at the moment for the Swedish tank. I don't know if they're going to be changing that in the future, because there was talks about introducing the tier 8 Centurion, the Swedish Centurion, the Sabaton tank, but that is, there's no news to confirm on it, but it is in the talks. But before I continue rambling on, let's get into some gameplay. The first 30 seconds of this clip I have to mute because, again, most of my gameplay comes from live streaming and I have song requests on, so a few times you get those songs popping up. It'll last the first 30 seconds of it, nothing interesting happens, but I always look at the team, and this is actually a good look into matchmaking. This is probably on the better side of matchmaking for this tier 6 tank. Only, I think, 2 tier 7s on it. Not too bad. But before I continue, that's where it stops. Oops. That one really actually... I forgot that you will still hear talking throughout the video a little bit, but the first 30 seconds had to be muted because of music. So, on this map I always tend to either go to the hill or to this section right here, and this poor keyhole just felt that 4-round autoloader, or 3 shots technically, on the 75mm. That damage really comes in handy. Most people won't notice it at first, but you should probably take advantage of it. Counting out each shot, making sure you're able to use it the way autoloaders are meant to be used is pick off the weaker enemies, and I actually managed to get a shot into the top of that, which is really... and I missed the second, then the third, and I missed the fourth. Using your autoloaders to the maximum capabilities is basically picking off the tanks that you know you can either clip out or finish off. Or in this case, if you have the support, you play the supporting role as well, and just try to put as much damage in as you are able to. And I sneak a shot right in here. Can I get in? Yep, right there. And he's actually baffled by that. Wild KV2 appears, and I was trying to set him on fire, but KV2, 375, man. Gotta love the KV2. So, as you can see, team is clearly spread out, but this location is probably one of the key ones. KV2, there's no chance there. But it's probably one of the key positions you want to take advantage of in your medium or light tanks to spot out the team. And I messed up on that one. Only 1 round there penetrated. Or wait, was it 2? Because I did take out the KV2 on that one. But using this tank's autoloader in a tier 6 match, this tank does work. And 1 into the Fury, 2 into the Fury, 3 into the Fury, and 4. And you can clearly see that the 4th one decided to have fun with me. Troll RNGesus, how dareth he. So you can notice that the autoloader does not have the capability of taking out a full tier 5 or tier 6 tank, but for most tier 5s and 4s, you're able to put in some work and take him out full health. Trying to fight a shot here. Just heard the KV2 take some damage, and yep, the The enemy STRV takes him out, or starts spawning M42. And I forgot to make sure to double check the minimap, and the enemy M42 decides to make a bold play and come after me. But never alone. And I screwed up. So does he. I don't know what that was. Focused the last shell, taking out the other one. Now we're both on reload. He's fired 4, I fired 4. I think I have more confidence that I emptied my shell last, so I should have a faster reload, unless for some godforsaken reason he actually has a better crew. But got that reload. He messed up his. Seems like we basically had the same reload, but I took advantage of it a lot faster. So 21 pens, 6 crits, 5 kills. Can I get a top gun? Will I get a top gun? The world will never know, or at least until the end of the video you won't. Trying to sneak up. Can I get a shot into the Churchill? That light tank is definitely going after it, but I see my chance on the artillery, decide to take a shot. You can see that aim time, waiting for it to come all the way in, and boom. Taking out the artillery. Will I be able to take it? So the reload is still pretty. The reload is still pretty good, as long as you take advantage of the knowledge of that reload, making sure you're not in any danger of taking damage, hiding your tank while on reload, using a fake out if you're in reload. These are all things you should probably take advantage of this tank, because this 4-round autoloader will do work if you know how to use it. On PC, it's not all that great. On console, I feel it still fits in. 3,009 damage, 6 enemies destroyed, the top gun, the ace tanker, and the high caliber. And I got the climb to the top, which was 2,500 free experience.
2 ace tankers.
That 11,000 experience really did help master that tank. 1,808.
Wow, that's fun. Crap.
1,808
in a tier 6 match, it does.
as an ace tanker.
What do you know?
I can't really talk over myself. It's kind of frustrating sometimes when I want to talk. But efficiency sheets.
Wow, that's actually really fun.
So 1,808 base experience for an ace tanker. That probably sets the bar a little bit high for most people, but it's a great tier 6 tank to use. My recommendation is know how to use your autoloader, play it like an autoloader, don't go brawling unless you have that situation grasped in total. And something I forgot to mention before, it seems I did mess up on the DPM being around 1,700. That is my fault. Apologies there. I was guessing on a higher end. I got it confused with the tier 6 Czechoslovakian. Again, apologies. Not trying to confuse anyone. So overall thoughts on the tank. It's very fun. If you know how to play autoloaders, this tier 6 Swedish medium tank is going to fit right in with you. If you decide to brawl with other tanks, you will probably severely regret everything or purchasing that tank. But it's always a great recommendation for people who want to get a tier 6 medium tank. Again, one of the only 2 tanks available for the Swedish tanks until they're released. The release date is November, which is fastly approaching from the release of this tank. Only a few days away. But that's all I have for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like down below. Subscribe if you want more. And leave all the comments. Those comments, though. Alright, guys. Have a good night.